Good day. Simply smashing. Welcome to the stream.
Hello, everybody. Let's see if this works. Can you hear me? Yay, you can hear me. Okay, awesome. Today we're going to make reversible dungeon tiles. I'm very excited about that. And this is very distracting because I'm actually looking at my monitor in front of me and I'm delayed like a minute and it's driving me crazy. So I need to get rid of that. But anyway, let's go over the tools of what we're going to need today. So the tools. I just got the funniest face from Clover. She's like, oh crap, that's me! Okay, so the tools. Let's start with the tools. You will need wire cutters, and that's for the wood that we'll get into. You will need box cutters, my favorite. I don't know if you'll need these or not. Needle nose, I brought them down just in case. You'll need two of these actually. I only brought one down. These are latex gloves that you use for like cooking or doctor's offices. A pair of scissors. This is a ball stylus, and it's a small one. I did not know what it was called until I looked up pottery making tools, I think, and it was on a set of those, but I've had this actually forever. I don't even know where I got it. It was probably my Nana's or my grandmother's or something. But you'll also need a small flathead screwdriver, and that'll be for the foam, and extra blades, of course, etc., etc. The second mic is, oh, the laptop mic is not off. I don't know how to turn that off. Hang on one second. We unplugged this. I don't know. Clover's gonna look it up. Clover's gonna look it up and we'll see. Oh, something's much better. Oh, okay. How's that? Is that better? Oh, the mouse clicks. Okay, I'll tell her to be quiet. Okay. You'll also need skewers, some small skewers, and again, you could probably get away with using a pencil tip if you'd like. I use a mechanical pencil with no lead because that metal point really works well. You'll also need a metal ruler. Now, you probably don't have this in your craft accessories, but I realized the other day that when I make my tiles, I always make them 6.5 by 6.5. And that is because I always like to put a quarter inch border on the edges of the tiles. And so 6.5 by 6.5 means that you can have a 6-inch by 6-inch playing field and have the borders around it. I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. This is a acrylic quilter's square, and basically it's just a pattern. It's acrylic. I've used these to make my tiers, and it's already measured 6.5 by 6.5. It's actually perfect. So you can use this to measure your foam if you need it. Otherwise, just use your rulers. Okay, so next we'll need materials. You ready, Clover, to switch to materials? Move this stuff over. Okay. Got materials going? You have to push it over. There it is. Okay. You will need some foam insulation. This is the pink kind. You know, the famous pink animal. They don't sponsor us, so I'm not going to say anything. I have cut this sheet. It was an 8-foot by 4-foot section. I had the folks at the hardware store cut it down in panels for me, and then I sat and cut it upstairs. I didn't do it down here. I did it upstairs. I cut them all out 6.5 by 6.5, and I've got 3 of them here to work with, but we'll just probably work with one. I've just got a couple extras. You'll also need some clear glue. Elmer's is what I recommend, although I think I've tried Crazy Art and it works just fine. You'll also need various color paints. I'm using, oh, you know what I didn't bring down? I did not bring down the can of spray paint, but that's okay. We're not going to actually use it. You'll need black matte spray paint. But you'll need various colors of grays. I did stick a gloss color in there because I did not have a matte version of this color. So I'm going to try it. I think it'll be fine. But you'll need various shades of grays. Looks like I've got pavement, dark gray, and pewter gray here. Plus some white, and then of course black. And the black is mostly just for touch-up, whatever you miss on your spray paint. And we'll go over that. The other paint you'll need is whatever you decide to put on the reverse of your tiles. I chose to do acid or poison. So I've got this, it looks like it says Sublime Lime color. Apple barrels, just, 50 cents, 87 cents, or whatever at Walmart. You'll also need some sponges. Just a regular kitchen sponge. I actually cut up one that had that rougher edge on it for scrubbing because I had a whole pack of them. You'll need this side of it, but maybe we'll test it and see if that side works too. I don't know. But I cut a bunch of them up into 1-inch by 1-inch squares, and that's for making the tiling on your dungeon floor look like it's marbled. They're actually sitting inside this little bin I have of the next thing you need, because I always keep scraps of the 1/4-inch wide craft sticks. These are thinner than popsicle sticks, and you can get them at Walmart or other craft stores. I find they're a lot cheaper at Walmart. But they're about, I don't know, 6 inches ish. Yeah, 6 inches long, and like I said, 1/4-inch wide. And these are what you're going to use these for, the walls. And they're not high walls, they're just to make an outline for the wall, so your players know where the walls start. They can't go through that way. And you'll need various sizes of the sponge, so if you cut it up and have extras, save those, because you might need to have a little nook and cranny you need to get in there with the paint, so save the little bits too. Also, you need some black aquarium rocks, and this was fun when I worked on this project earlier. I did a couple steps ahead because there was going to be significant drying time. So when I put those in last night, I had fun watching those sink to the bottom of the acid to make it look more deadly. So anyway, these are cardboard tiles that I have made in the past. And I love them, except they bow. And I don't know if you can see from the camera, but they have a bow that they don't lay flat on the surface of your gaming table. But I brought all these out to show you the different rooms of this dungeon. Rooms with certain doors or pass-throughs. Even this really interesting one that's just basically a narrow passage through your dungeon. But you can see as I'm laying them out to play on, they're rocky because they're bowed. That's why I went with the foam this time. So that's one that ends with a dead end, obviously. But you can make them using the full 6 inches, or bring it in some and have a 5x5 room with some outline. I like these the best. I think they look sharper than the largest ones. And here's one with 4-way passages on there all the way. And I have a lot more of these. I made probably a dozen of them that we have used, and I've taped them together. It's a pain, and I don't like the fact that they're bowed, but what can you do? So we're going to try to solve that with what I'm calling reversible tiles. Because the foam core is so sturdy, we can actually use both sides. As you can see, this is just a piece of that cardboard corrugated board that I got on that kids use for their displays, like science fair displays. So I didn't do anything on the back, but these I'm going to. So anyway, let me glance really quick at chat, see if anyone's asking anything. I don't have Clover looking at chat, so she has her own Twitch stream up, and she's watching it live also. So everything sound okay so far? I'm really nervous not having Drake here, but Clover's doing a great job. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, like I said, and I did pre-prep these, and if you haven't done this yet, go ahead and quick prep them. I know you're not doing it, but when you do it, you'll know what to do. You're going to want to mark the tiles off in you're going to make little marks in it. I'm not used to doing all the talking. There he is! Drake is here!
I snuck up on you.
And Clover looks really sad right now.
Oh no, you can say.
But I don't have the baby mic turned on, the lapel mic, because I wasn't letting her talk. So when you come back down, if you want to join in, you're welcome to get on that baby mic and talk.
Both mics are active, that's why it's echoey.
Well, I unplugged the other one, but they said the laptop mic is
probably still on.
Probably still on. We don't know how to turn it off.
Okay.
So I am godlike. Rylan says hi, Drake.
Hi, Rylan.
Okay, so he's going over little things with Clover now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to measure in 1/4 inch all the way around, and we're going to use our ruler for that. And again, I'm using this skewer. You can use the ball stylus, or you can use the tip of a pencil, or even just a pencil if you'd like. But I'm going to use this, so I'm going to mark in 1/4 inch on each side. And I'm pretty good at guessing that that's the 1/4 inch also. If it's not, it's no big deal. And then I'm going to measure 1 inch each way. I've done this so many times now that it's 3 1/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, 4 1/4, 5 1/4, all the way. And you see there I've made, I don't know if that's clear. Let's wait till it catches up. Is that clear? Those dots on there? I don't know. And I'll do it to the other side. So I'll go in there on... You fixed it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now you can go get your shower and then come back. Go charge your phone or bring your charger down. You don't know how hard it was for me not being able to communicate with you today. I had so many questions about this stream.
I'm sorry.
He forgot his phone didn't charge last night, and then he forgot his charger
No,
to take it to work.
No, the charging port is broken on my phone.
Oh,
I
no.
can't charge my phone.
Oh, that's not good.
So I gotta go to. Do you have a wireless charger by chance? That you your phone on?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, it's fine. I just need to go get one.
Yeah.
Or go get this fixed. I'm not sure which is cheaper. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm an Apple person, and you are not an Apple person.
Research, yay!
Yeah, research it. Are you coming back down?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
if you don't mind, I'll take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Go get your shower and everything. All right, yay!
I'll let Kira continue. So I'll spectate.
Okay, yeah. He's gonna be down here to make sure that Clover does a good job. All right. So yeah, I did measure that one correctly there, so that's cool. And this seems tedious at first, but once you get these measured out, it is a lot of fun to decide how you want your rooms and how you want the hallways to go. And the best part is coming up, and that's where you want your acid to go. Okay, so now we're just going to keep measuring from one side to the other every inch. I'll try to do this quickly. Sorry, I keep pulling it down to me. And we're just making a little mark. And it is harder on the other side because the other side has... Well, that one doesn't have a lot of writing on it, but some of them have a lot of, like that writing. It's hard to see the holes. But I chose one that we'll be able to get through quickly. Now, the idea that I had with the reversing the floors is one side was going to be regular flooring, and the other side was going to be filled with acid. But you could, not filled, but you know, have pockets of acid or lava or ice or whatever your dungeon has. You could, though, instead of doing what I'm doing and filling the other side with some sort of element or hazard for people to have their characters go around or over or get around somehow, you could just make alternate rooms. Like you can make a bunch of tiles that are all narrow hallways, flip them over and make a bunch of tiles that are all large rooms, and then you can interchange them. Go back and forth. So it depends on how many tiles you want to use or make and have at your disposal. I like these because so far, I just started making them 2 days ago for this stream. So I'm hoping this works. So far, it's going to work. They have not warped at all. And I have painted them and I have put in the acid, which is what we're going to make the glue and the paint together will make my acid. And so far they have not warped, so I really think that they're going to come together nicely and lay flat on the table, on your gaming table for your game. Okay, so I have made, on my other tiles, I have made a room that enters from 3 sides, one that enters from 2 sides, and I think one that enters from 1 side. So I think for this one, I'm going to make a hallway. No, I won't make a hallway. I'll make something. Let's see. Let's have the room decide. You know what, Clover? Put up the ask the room. This is the one I think I have done already. Do you see it on there? It's oh, I can't remember what I called the file. Let's go ahead and throw it up there and see if you can guess what I'm thinking. You know what? Maybe we'll do this one with the 4 sides. I like that one. I don't think I did this one. Anyway, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to now use the stylus, this stylus, or the flathead screwdriver, or your skewer to make marks. Now remember, and we went over this in the dwarf hut, your foam core has oh, I can't think of the word. Against the grain. Like you'll either go against the grain or go with the grain. So I'm going to start here with, let's see, that goes here. The edges that your doors go off of, or your exits go off of, don't worry about those being that extra 1/4 inch. You'll declare as the DM that those are extra spaces, or just count them as not spaces at all. That's how I've done it. So we're going to go in 1 on that. And make a room out of it. See how that's against the grain? How it clipped there? And then this is with the grain, so it's going to be smooth, more smooth. There we go. Right now we're just making the outline of it, and then we'll fill in the other parts later, because you don't want to make a mistake and fill in, like I'm not going to make these tiles, so I'm not going to make them into squares. And you don't have to stick with any kind of particular pattern. You can make, I could maybe bring this in and just have it a jagged hallway. The one thing I would recommend doing for sure is making all exits in the same spot central. And that is that I've decided to make the 2 middle ones, the 2 squares in the middle, the exit for all my hallways. If you want to later on, you can take a little bit of foam and create a barrier that they can only go through half of it. So there's only a 5-foot path to get out or in. But I chose to put them on the center so that when they connect here, you can see no matter how you turn these, they're always going to connect and they'll always be lined up. So that's what I chose. You could choose differently, but if you do some that are off, like if you have an exit here, you're going to have to make sure that it lines up like that. And that might not work well with your dungeon, at least the flexibility of having the multiple tiles. Okay, so where were we? We're here, getting this part done. The other thing you could do is leave open this whole side and create use 4 tiles to create a very large room. You could do that as well. That would mean leaving all of this open and then just surrounding it with other open ones with only partial walls. It's all up to you and your imagination. Okay, so now we're going to fill in the insides of the squares. And you could just make a single line going across, or you could do what I'm doing and make individual squares. Because tiles in dungeons aren't exact. There are some misses here and there. And there's going to be definitely, since I'm just working on this project a foot away from where I'm used to working on it, stretched across. I am measuring out the 1/4 inch here also. Just to show you that wasn't quite a 1/4 inch, but that's all right. Okay, so now once we've got that all measured out, you can see your dungeon floor and tiles work out. It reminds me of that game that you play with the with putting your initials. You know how you played that in restaurants when you were bored and you had that little mat that you had dinner on as a kid. The kids menu was on it and you had this little dot game that you played. This is what that reminds me of. Okay, so there's our room. It's a 4x4 room with exits on all 4 sides. So that'll be a corridor roomish that goes everywhere. And we're not going to fill in, like I said, these parts, because that'll be the brown outer part like this. And that'll be painted a different color. It's a bug. Okay, I don't know why this air's down to like 68 in here. Don't tell my husband. Okay, so next we're going to do the other side, which is boring and omnipresent. So we're not going to do that today. I'm just going to do this side and show you what I've done in the other. But that's what you would do. You would do, like I said, either the same exact thing on the other side, and then you would put your acid on one side and leave the other one nice and clean, or you would make narrow hallways on that side and leave this side a big room. However you decide to do your dungeon, you would do both sides right now, and then be ready to go to the next step, which is digging out the part that you want to be the acid, or putting the creases on the tiles. Oh, I got lots of XP for the... Sorry, I'm not looking at chat. I had Clover just gave me the little waving her arms like, look at chat, Mom, look at chat. Okay. Look, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, a trap floor would be a great idea. Yeah. Maybe I'll let Clover talk. It's a lot easier having someone do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, dungeon floors are not perfect. Unless you make a perfect dungeon floor, then you're done. But in my dungeon, they're cracked and broken, and they're old, and people have trampled down there for centuries, and so the flooring has cracks in it, and it gives a little personality to it as well. So I run the edge of this. I choose to use this tool. I think that the ball stylus makes it too large and smooth. I like the jaggedness of using the flathead screwdriver. So I'm gonna just make different cuts in it. I try to keep the cuts to the one tile. I don't join them, because then it looks like you're trying to just get it all done. I like to make them at different bits and places on it. I also like to get rid of the corners, because I don't know why, but tiles in any old house, it seems like the corners wear out sooner than later. So that's what I tend to do most, is dig out the corners a little bit. Let's go this way. And I'm going pretty deep with that. Not so deep, obviously. This is a 1/2 inch foam core, foam insulation. I'm not going so deep that it's going to go to the other side, but I'm going deep enough to where it's going to give it a little bit of personality. But you can also do a light wrinkle on it, a light little crack on it as well, if you'd like. Digging out, I use the flat part of the screwdriver. You can also use your X-Acto knife if you'd like, or any other blade. I have some wood carving tools that work. They're very large though. I think they were for very large projects. They were my husband's. He gave them to me to use, but I find that the flathead screwdriver works a lot better. So this piece of tile here, I've decided is just going to have a maybe ceiling, something in the ceiling, rocks in the ceiling fell and cracked that one horribly. So let's get the corner out of that one. And I'm going to actually have the corner there too. So once you get done with that part on both sides, you will end up with your floor ready to be painted, except the last step is to run along the sides of the edge of the tile. And I will use a little bit of this. It's gonna make that funny squeaky noise to rough it up a little bit. I'm not gonna go in so far to cut the basic 6.5 by 6.5 shape, but I will get rid of like the edge of the corners like that. And I do find that the box cutter works well for this because you can do it quickly. It doesn't have to be fancy. Again, it's a dungeon. But we do want to retain the shape of the square. It just can't look pretty. Unless, of course, you have a pretty dungeon. I just got a look from Clover like, nah, you don't want a pretty dungeon. That dragons live there. So, anyway, you would do that all around. I didn't finish that because I'm making a mess here. All around, all four sides, and then you would flip it over and measure out the dots, make the design you'd like, and then again, trim and cut down the edges of that. And it ends up looking like it has rounded corners on it. If you want to make this one, for example, the pit where horrible stuff is. You know, I don't know if sandpaper would work, Marlon, because I think that it would get a lot of foam insulation dust everywhere. I find, honestly, look, I'm using my fingernails. I really find that the stronger digging tools help much better. They work much better. And I use my nails for a lot. In fact, I used, if you saw my Feywild build, the terrain, you saw the whole river I made. It was like the size of this mat here was I dug out with my fingernail, my thumbnails. So I'm going to just show you there. It's not going down very deep. I don't know if you can see the depth there. Let's say it's about maybe 3/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit less. It's hard to tell from that depth. Can you see that, Clover? Yep, she's giving me the thumbs up. I told her she couldn't talk, but maybe I'll let her talk next time. She's like dying to talk. Okay, so and the reason why is obviously if you decide to dig on this side and dig on the other side, you're going to dig right through. And you don't want to do that because then pouring the glue will make a tremendous mess, and we do not want that. We want a nice clean crafting table on my new mat. Don't want to get it dirty. By the way, Clover, don't use this mat. It's my new one. Daddy got it for me. It has no paint on it. You know, Clover paint. Okay. And the edges really aren't that important to, I saw what you said, Rylan. They're not that big of a deal. You just don't want them to be perfect and straight and razor sharp. You just want them to be kind of mashed in. You can use your hand, actually. Just push it in and make it a little more rounded. That's all. So. I don't know how old your daughter is. This one's 13, so that's why she has a Twitch account. She wasn't allowed to get one until she was 13. But she wanted to help, so that was the rule. If she was going to help, that she couldn't chat. Until she gets to know the ropes. She doesn't know how to, what is it, vamp or whatever, like Alex can, like Drake can. Okay. It is hot down here. I have to put my hair up. It's driving me crazy. There we go. Okay, so now let's say that we've done both sides. We've got, okay, I'm looking. Now, why did so deep? Oh, yeah, it will, because this is the side, that's the whole point. We're not going to cut these deep. These are just going to be tiles that have a little bit of a etching to them where they've been cracked or misaligned somehow. The edges usually kind of get chipped off, and a mini can still stand on that corner. That's fine. That's no big deal. This part, I've dug it out because that's the part on this tile that we're going to put the acid, an acid pool. And you do want to create a bit of a bowl or a divot in which to put the glue. Otherwise, you'll have to create a border, which is, oh, trust me, I've poured so much glue to make it look like water features and acid features and lava features that I knew I had to dig stuff out, and I'll show you what happens. It's so cool. Once you've done that, you are ready to, and again, pretend like we did all this, marked it all, and we've done the other side. But once you've done that, you're going to take it outside or wherever you spray paint. I know that Tranquil has his own second studio where he goes out and spray paints a bunch of stuff. Oh, hey, Twisted! Glad you're here. He actually, when I went out and painted the first two a couple days ago, I was laughing because I looked around my craft room thinking, well, while I'm out there, why don't I see what else I can paint? So I took a bunch of skeletons and mummies and all sorts of minis that I had to work on for future streams out there and gave them a base coat. And again, I used matte black. It tends to, I don't like the shiny, obviously, but the matte tends to help the paint stick on much better. And I gave it a good coat. I mean, I did it this way. I turned it, well, I wore my gloves. I wore my gloves because I don't like my hands getting dirty. And I sprayed it this way, then I turned it and sprayed it this way, so I made sure to get in all the nooks and crannies. I brought it on the sides, sprayed the sides and the other side. Then I kind of propped it up like that to dry outside. An hour later, it was done. It was awesome. And I used just 96-cent can of black matte spray from Walmart. Very inexpensive. So I'll show you what that looks like. Ta-da! And we're done. We're not done. This is done. I did both sides. This is the side I decided to do 3 entries and exits on this one. And this is a solid wall. I did a 4x4 room with the 10-foot wide exits or entrances. And then on the other side, same design, but I decided that I was going to make it almost impassable to get from this door to this door because of this huge pit here. I'll bring it up a little bit higher so you can see. And you can see I've dug it out, and I'll turn it at an angle. You can see kind of the depth of it. I spray painted all the sides and kind of got in there. And this one I actually did a pretty good job of painting, but I do see some pink there. And that's when I will go over with my black paint. And I will just dab a little bit of, well, that one's not even open yet. Let's see if I have another one. Nope, I guess I'll have to open this one. Things I should have prepared before the show started. Oh well. Of course that didn't open. There we go. Oh, seriously. Okay. So we're just gonna fix up any of the parts that the spray paint missed. Oh, the paint farted. Alright. This will dry quickly. I'm not too worried about that. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is you want to start the, if you decide to do your lava or acid or like I said, whatever element you want to put in there to thwart your adventurers, I would do that next. You know, I forgot clover. I forgot water. No, I didn't. It's right here. Okay. So let's do that on this one, and then I'll show you one that I've already done before we continue to the next step, because this does take a couple days, if not longer, depending on how thick you put it in there. I have pre-mixed some of this in this little solo, tiny little shot glass. What is it? Jello shots you put in there. But I keep a bunch of those for crafting. But I'm going to add a little bit more. And I'm going to use this washable clear glue by Elmer's. And I have used the Crazy Art glue before. I can't even tell you what ratio I used. I'm just going to add a little bit more to this and then add a little bit of the green paint and then mix it up. Clover's waving at me again. Look at chat, Mom. Look at chat. Okay. Oh, yeah, deli cups. Yeah, because you could put like mustard or mayonnaise in them. Yeah. Okay. All right, so I've mixed up a bunch of this, and it's that sicky green color, so it could either be poison or acid or whatever you want to, or blood from some strange creature. And we're just going to pour it in there. Oh, it's so gloopy. And if you get paint on the edges, you just, when it dries, you just paint over it. And here's the next part's fun, because we're going to drop some rocks in there. This is where the next step is where the aquarium rocks will come in. I'm just going to dab this in each one. Yeah, you can get them for free. I think I got mine at Costco, but yeah, I've been known to go into Wendy's and go, because they have the little cups that you can get at the ketchup, you know, ketchup and mustard, and fill those little cups, and sometimes I get an extra one or two. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse this off. I do use the washable glue because it does clean up a lot easier, especially if I use a paintbrush with my glue, which I do sometimes. I can just wash it off with water and not worry about getting any other thing on there. Okay, so now I've got these little jars I got at the dollar store, and I have aquarium rocks in there. And I'm just going to drop them in inside the funk. When this dries, it will reduce, if that makes sense. It will not be as high as it is, so you can try to fill it up as much as you can. You may have to do a second layer. I've already looked at my other ones that I've done, and unless I want them to look like this, I may have to do a second layer. So okay, I put that in there, and now I am going to coat them. Just going to bury them inside that, and they're going to start to sink anyway. I'm just going to give them a little help. This is so much fun to do. I get to work with gloopy glop. Is that a word? Is that a word, Clover? You can talk.
Cool.
The chat room probably is like, let her talk! Okay. Alright, so it doesn't look like much now because I've buried them all, but I will show you what it looks like when it's dry, because I did that the other day. Set this aside. Okay. Ta-da! I did 2 of them, actually. This is the room. Oh, I did do 4 entrances on that room. Oh, well. That one has 4 entrances. And see how the rocks kind of appear? So it makes it like gloopy. And then I put it in front of a fan. And it's got some air pockets in it. And I kind of like that. Here's the other one. This room is a whole room with only 1 entrance. Maybe, or no, it had 2 entrances, here and here, so they could have this walkway through. And so I put 2 bits of kind of gloopy stuff in there. There. The aquarium rocks are to give it that. See how it gives it a little bit of a bumpy look and rough. I don't know. I just decided it looked kind of cool. I didn't want it to be smooth. I guess that was my big thing. So, and there's air pockets formed. There's still actually a little. If I dig my hand deep in, there's probably gonna be some paint in there, paint and glue. It does take a while to dry, especially if it's really thick. So I might put another layer in there. I haven't decided yet. I'm still having fun with this. But I will get on to the next step. We'll work with both of them. The next step is going to be applying the marbly look, as you can see here, of each individual dungeon tile. And that is when we use all the different colors of the grays, and there's some white in there, and I brought my thin paintbrush down in case we had to make a couple little black marks down the centers of each of these to better refine the spaces for which our characters can adventure. So let me get some more paper towels out. I gotta protect my mat here. And yeah, I'm actually using the paper towels from my mushroom project, so I may have to buy more for the mushroom project because we haven't even started that paper toweling process yet. So, okay. All right, so what we're gonna do, I poured the black paint here on a paper plate, and the reason why you want to use a paper plate is because you're gonna dab a lot of the paint off before you apply it. So I'm going to put all the different color grays on here and the white, just a little bit, because you're going to have to keep pouring more and more each time. And if you pour too much, you're not going to have enough space, and it'll start getting dried out before you can get done. So there, I've got some dark grays, a lighter gray. Why, thank you, Tranquil. I almost called you Jamie. Oh, I did it again. Okay, so you're going to want to get your sponge wet. Let me pick a good one. Oh, there we go. And then, ooh, now I have to tinkle. And you're going to squeeze out the extra water. I'll bring this over here. And so now your sponge is nice and wet. And you're going to want to put a little bit of color on each. You don't need the black. You just need these four. You can use black if you'd like, but you need a little bit of the colors. Then you're going to want to pat it out. That needs more white. And as soon as you're happy with kind of the colors on it, you can go back over it if you want. Then you're going to apply it to your tile. Now, what you want to do is, as you apply, when you do the next one, turn your sponge so that the same shape or pattern doesn't appear symmetric to the, you want it to be different. And I got a little bit on the edge here, but don't worry, that's going to be covered with the sticks for the walls. And even if it doesn't, we can paint over it. So that's no big deal. Yes. Yeah, never go in a row. Always kind of alter if you can. And I'm going to keep my sponge very horizontally shifted because I don't want to get any paint on my acid. The other thing that helps it not look so uniform is, I'm going to skip this one because we're going to use a smaller sponge for that, but I can get this one. That's just a half one. Is because we put the deep crevices inside, which we couldn't do. We couldn't do that with the cardboard. These were all painted on crevices. So that's what I like about this project. Paper towels, my hands are wet. Is the crevices are already kind of built into this. There we go. Turning it here and there. And then if you decide that there's too much of one color, well, just dip more paint. Go over it. And there you go. Oh, I didn't do this one. And I gotta do this half one. So let me just get my little half sponge out and get it wet. And just do the little areas there. There. Ta-da! Oh, I didn't do that part either. I can't say ta-da yet. If this plate, and I've already noticed it's getting a little soggy right here, is the colors are blending too much and creating one color. So I'm gonna dab it off here and start again. Because I want it to be different colors. That's the whole point. It's a marbly look. There. See how I turned the sponge to give it a different There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to touch the edges here of the spots where the doors are. Whether it's just a hallway or a door. It's the exit, actually. All right. Awesome. Let's do the next one. This is the whole room, too. We get to cover this whole thing. I should have done the other side, but that's all right. That's beginning to look like a lot like the same color. So let me get another plate. I should have gotten a bigger plate anyway. These two look, those two colors look alike.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm picking it up and turning it. Try not to get the funk. And if I do, I can just cover it with more green paint if I have to. There we go. Yeah, hop around the checkerboard. There. Well, it looks pretty good. If I do say so myself. Needs more white. Maybe it's just a splash of white on some of these tiles, I think. I don't need to get the edges because that'll be covered, but if it gets there, it's no big deal. Make sure I get the exits, though. There! Ta-da! And now we're going to wait for them to dry and do the other side. Which I didn't do. So, I didn't prep for that. So, we are going to learn how to make the edges on this one because this part's not painted yet, so that's fine. Put this over here. Let me get some more paper towel. Okay. Alright, so, to make the, oh, hey, Leah! She watching? Okay, let me get my small, oh, here they are. Okay, so, you can choose to do your walls, two different ways. I like the traditional framing way, and Tranquil would know how to do this, where you create two 90-degree angle corners and make your edges all have corners on them. If you don't want to do that, and I agree that it's a pain and it's more tedious, you could just do the edges flat against each other, like that and like that, and just butt them up against each other. But I like them with the angle on them, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I love this cutting board because it has on it, where is the, oh, the angle's turned the wrong way. Oh well. It's not this cutting board, it's the other one. Okay, well, I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Measure it myself. But I have some of these already angled, and I'm going to put them here, like that, after I trim them. And we're just going to glue that on with regular, you can use your clear glue, or you can just use regular glue. I'm not going to use my glue gun. They don't stick as well, and I don't like hot glue on, as we talked before, on the foam insulation. So I need to measure that, get my pencil. We're not going to be able to finish these, but I'm going to show you at least how to do it. And I'm going to go all the way out with my hallway, with my wall here, all the way out to the very edge of this. And use my wire clippers, my heavy duty wire clippers. I tried my other pair and they're just, either I'm weak or they're not sharp or they're not strong enough, and they just don't cut it very well. They don't cut it. Normally, I would also take the time to take a piece of sandpaper, or I use a nail file to trim this down, or sand it down and make it smooth. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And that'll be there. I always put it on there first, see how it looks, do any trimming before I glue it down. Once it's glued down, you really can't do any trimming. And then once you have them cut out and applied. Oh, thank you, Clover, for putting up important safety tip. Always make sure that you wear your safety googles. Isn't that what Leanne used to say?
Yeah, I think
Googles.
so.
She called them googles.
Yep.
All right, so this has another angle on it, which goes this way, 90 degrees. I'm just going to guess 90 degrees. And guess what? When you cut it like that, this one should match it. Bet you didn't know that. Or maybe you did. You can just flip it and put it on that side. I've got the chat here, but it's driving me, Drake's back.
Nice.
But it's driving me crazy because I can't always see it. So Clover's been making like these wild hand gestures to get me to read it.
Oh.
and then I look at the actual stream and it's like 10 minutes behind. It's not really 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds.
But I feel like I need to stop and catch up to myself. And that just doesn't work out well. Okay, so there's that angle there. You see that? It's hard to see in the thing, but right there. We're going to give that a clip. And again, flip it over. Boom! It should match. Now, the reason why we're putting the walls on is twofold. One is because it does look symmetrically better with the walls on there. You could just paint a stripe on there and say don't go past this part, or you could maybe make some other kind of barrier. I do like the low walls because players can see them from all parts of the table. I like Dwarven Forge. I wish I could afford Dwarven Forge, but a lot of the problems with those higher ceiling or high walled sides are players can't see over them to see what's going on in this direction. This way you can see it better, in my opinion. Like I said, I wish I could afford Dwarven Forge or Rampage or any of the other number of excellent 3D dungeons out there, but this is my poor man's version of a dungeon, so that's what we're gonna go with. Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to get a 3D printer. It's something that Crow and I have talked about, but it's not. I think I have other things I'd rather get. Like I need to get a microphone. I need to have a microphone so when we go to Florida, we can have a good mic for streaming our D&D game and our crafts tranquil. So I'm pushing that. If you wanna
Lay it down.
If you wanna contribute to what?
Lay it down.
Lay what down?
The glue.
Oh, the glue. Thank you.
Your old rock and roll mic.
Yeah, I need a I don't know. I need to figure something out. If you want to become a patron or patron.
Oh yeah.
Hello, pull it.
I'm good at my job.
Don't expect to raise anytime soon.
I'm not getting paid in general.
Well, that's true. Oh, you know what?
You're
That's
doing great. You should get triple what you're getting now.
all right. I'll pay you triple what you're getting now. She has.
3 is still 0.
She's good at math. She's got my T-shirt on. My D&D shirt on. Okay. Woo! Look at that. Oh, I love it when those angles come together. It looks so cool. And there you have the wall. It's important to put walls on both sides, and the reason why is if you decide to do use this side for your dungeon and this side, or then this side. Hold on, I gotta get the other one. And then this side for this part, then it has to be able to lay equally on the table. So flush. I said flush.
Yes, you did.
I did not say flesh. I mean, I did say flesh, but not in the terms that you think I thought you said.
I got it.
Okay, it's Friday, people!
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
That's my supervisor at work every Friday.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, we walk in and he's like, "Happy Friday, everybody."
Oh, that's nice, isn't that?
Safety meeting, something.
Something.
And, Happy Friday, everybody. You said that already, Ron.
Well, he's really happy. It's Friday. Okay, so now we're gonna use. I always use a brighter color for the wall. I don't want to do black because I've already kind of got the black here. So I'm gonna use probably one of the grays, the lighter gray. So I'm just gonna paint it. It's not even dry yet, but I'm just gonna paint it. This is boring, but this is what we're doing. La la la. How long have we been at this? You do realize, Clover, that every time I look up to see the time, you're standing right in front of it. She's very tall. My 13-year-old is like Goliath size.
You've been live for an hour and 4 minutes.
Ooh, we gotta get going. I said an hour. I'm keeping people past their Friday night time.
Well, it's only 6:55, so
Okay.
you have 5 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Did you have like an intro thing?
We just did the mat, and I wrote on my dry erase board.
Oh, okay.
I wrote messages because we were muted. The mic was muted. Messages. I wrote 2. This will need another coat of paint, obviously, but you get the idea. And I also will do all the sides as well. And this side too. You can paint them prior, but you'll need to touch them up. You always do. Every time I've ever done this, it needs to be touched up. So you can paint them before you put them on or after. It doesn't matter. You'll have to touch them up regardless of how you want to do them. And there you go. That is... Oops. Now my glue's leaking. I left it open and my glue's leaking. And that is a reversible dungeon tile. You could add more goop to this if you decide that you want it to be, I don't know, bubbly. You could probably wait till it's partially dry and pick it with a toothpick or something to make it bubbly. Glue as a base for water, as a water feature, is give and take. I'll get it out real quick. My Rogue's Gallows. Oh, did you ever throw Patreon up there?
She did.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. My Rogue's Gallows. When I made it, I was so proud of how it looked, and then like 2 days later, it started bubbling up like this horrible monster, and I'm like, uh-oh, I just totally wasted 3 months of my life because it ruined, and then it settled right back down again. But I'll show it to you. It looks really cool. Posting materials in the video description. You know what I'm gonna do? The materials are on my... Are you on Twitter? I can't remember the people who follow me, whether they're on Twitter or you know what I could do? I think it's on Discord too. Yeah, I did link them last night. Yeah, thank you, Rylan. Yep, I did post them last night.
If all else fails, you can wait for this video to go up on YouTube and just at the beginning. Did you display the?
I do. Yeah, she did display the tools and the materials at the beginning. Good job. Also, on YouTube, this is me giving my my baby girl a hint to put the YouTube link up. This is my Rogue's Gallows. And you can see most of it is water. And this bubble here, these bubbles here, were not intentional. But we all decided we loved the way it looked. I'll pull it up some, yeah. She's giving me that. Pull it up, John. There's water in the way. I gotta move the water first.
Better than me. I'm always like, Mom.
Mom! Okay. And this actually has, this is a building. It's a 2-story building. Here. We played in this once, didn't we, Tranquil? That was so much fun. That was one of the best nights. They actually fought a coven of sea hags. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I actually have a small ship a barge that comes in on here. Doot, doot. It doesn't actually toot. And a dock.
It was epic. The fight.
It was a lot of fun. Oh, it says what Tranquil said? Yeah, we had a good time. But this water feature here did not go as planned. This was a happy accident. This particular piece is how I make terrain. How I've made terrain, I should say, because I haven't done another one since. It's very difficult. But it's on a 1/2-inch foam core. And then it's actually bolstered with some square dowel rods. Not rods, but whatever they're called when they're square. All the way around. And that was to help support the heaviness of the glue and the docks. The docks are all these 1/4-inch sticks that we've been working with for the walls, and other pieces of wood. I can't think of anything. And all these guys, this is exactly what we've been working on. Here's the close-up of the water feature using these tiles exactly. This foam insulation, I made these with it. I used a little bit of green tint to it, and to make it look kind of mildewy and lichen-ish, like here. That was because it's this terrain is in an underground cavern type thing. So anyway, I just hang this up on my wall here.
Psycho asked, how long did it take to make?
Well, it took a long time, months, because I kept putting it off because I couldn't decide how I wanted to do it. You can probably track my Twitter and see the different things that I worked on as I did that. But once I got going, the longest part was the water because it took forever to dry, and then that bubbling happened and we all freaked out. But anyway, all right, back to these. We're done because I can't do any further until this kind of stuff dries, and this is already starting to settle. This is the glue that we did earlier. You can see the rocks poking through. I love the way that the rocks look on this. You don't have to use the aquarium rocks if you don't want to, but I think this is going to be a lot of fun on which to play. So anyway, you put up the YouTube one, right? You need a Patreon. Oh, we're at 48% for coffee. If someone wants to buy me a coffee, we're working toward that microphone. That's the Blue Yeti that's on my Amazon wish list. And I'd love to have that so when we go to our road trip into Florida.
It's a really sad Yeti.
At the a Blue Yeti. Oh, I get it. Sad Yeti. Don't quit your day job. That would be awesome. I appreciate it. But anyway, thanks guys so much for joining me tonight on our first Friday one shot. I hope you got enough information. Thanks, Clover, for helping out, my assistant producer. She missed it. She was totally looking at her phone when the credits ran.
Yeah.
And didn't see her name because she didn't think I would have time to quick get her into the beginning credits, but I did. So anyway, thanks everyone, and we'll see you Tuesday where we continue to work on the mushroom Shade Merc, the Mushroom Village. So have a good night. Happy Friday!
You're live on mic.
Oh, don't leave yet. Guys, I forgot completely about this. I would be remiss if I didn't do this. I can't believe I did not give a shout out to my friend Joe. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Drake, do me a favor. Kira knows what to do. I gotta give a shout out to Riff and Rabble. Oh my goodness. Hello to Callie and Lauren and Joe and Travis and Dave. And Sir Mimsy is gonna be watching you guys tonight
Oh yeah.
at 10 o'clock East on Riff and Rabble on Twitch. They run an awesome D&D game, and I watch them every... I can't believe I forgot to leave. I forgot.
That's all right.
I'm like, oh gosh, don't leave. They're gonna leave. Everyone get back in the channel. Anyway, just leave that on there and mute me in a second after I finish rambling, because I want them to see that they gotta go see Riff and Ramble tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern, twitch.tv/Riff and Rabble. The thing's there. Okay, mute me because I sound like an idiot.